Hey everyone, I am Agent Ross and welcome to the episode 11 of our Three.js Checkers series. At this point, we have already built a fully playable checkers game. The rules work, the turns work, captures, kings, multi-jumps, and game over all done. But let's be honest, a game that works is not the same as a game that feels good. In this episode, we are focusing on game feel, small details, visual feedback, tiny animations, clear player communication, nothing fancy, nothing overwhelming, just the kind of polish that separates a beginner project from something you are actually proud to show. Our goal today is simple. When a player clicks something, the game should visually respond immediately, even if the move is illegal. We're also going to add light animations, without touching any of our core game logic. Right now, if a player clicks the wrong piece or tries to move when it's not their turn, nothing happens. That's confusing for beginners. The game looks broken even though it isn't. As a solution, we are going to add flash red feedback on invalid click. In your main.js file, we are going to add a new helper functions. You can add this function anywhere below your helper functions. Alright, this function temporarily flashes a piece red. We store the original emissive color, set it to red for 0.2 of a second, then restore it. This gives instant feedback without changing any game rules. Now let's go ahead and find the select checker piece function. Inside this function, we are gonna change this line. Now, instead of silently failing, the game clearly tells the player when it's not their turn. And testing works. Alright, the next things we are gonna implement smooth piece movement. Right now, pieces teleport instantly. That works, but it feels robotic. For the solution, we are gonna add simple lerp animation. Let's go up the top and add a new global variable. And we are gonna call this variable let animated move, and we are gonna set this to null. And let's go ahead, find the move selected piece function. Inside the move selected piece function, we are going to replace this position set code. Alright, we can go ahead and delete that and then type animated move equals piece selected checker piece and start selected checker piece dot mesh dot position dot clone and new 3 dot vector 3, and inside this we are gonna add target move dot column minus 3.5 and as usual 0.25 and target move dot row minus 3.5 as well. Now we are going to inject this inside animate function, and it should be just before the render. Let's go ahead, animate function. So we are not using fancy animation libraries. We are just interpolating or lerping between the start and end position over multiple frames. This keeps our logic intact while making movement feel smooth and natural. Alright, it looks like we have a bug. It's not really exactly a bug. It's just how the lerp function works. Because it's using floating number, it's not calculating properly and the pieces moves further away. I believe this is because we update the logical board position before the animation finishes, but the mesh is still in mid animation. Let's go ahead and see if we can fix this issue. First of all, let's find our move selected piece function. All right, when we call this function, we are doing this, but the mesh is still in mid animation. So now logic says piece is already at destination and mesh is still moving visually. And because of that floating point, it calculates the move incorrectly. And over time, pieces drift off the grid. I think what we're gonna do is first, we are gonna snap the piece to tile at animation end. And then we only update the board coordinates after animation finishes. And finally, we will clamp the progress so it never overshoots. First of all, let's comment this line out. And let's go ahead, update this one. And this hopefully will keep the visual animation and game logic cleanly separated. Next, we are gonna scroll down animate function and we are gonna update this function. And now let's go ahead and test it. All right, it looks like it works. And we can go ahead and delete this. Ideally, if you want frame rate independent animation, you need to replace this line with delta time. So instead of saying plus equals 0.1, you will be something like plus equals animation speed times delta time. But right now, this is all right for this episode. Next, we can improve the move highlights. All right, let's go find the highlight valid moves function and right down here, move.isCapture, we can actually change the colors. And let's go ahead, make this one 4-4 and 4-4. And this one, let's go ahead, make 0-0-4-4 and 4-4. And let's test it out. So green means optional and red means mandatory. So this way, the player doesn't need to know the rules, the game teaches them visually. And that wraps up episode 11. Today we focused on game feel. We added visual feedback for invalid actions, smooth movement animation, clear move indicators, and subtle polish that makes the game feel responsive. The rules didn't change, but the experience did. In the next episode, we will start stepping into advanced territory, preparing the game for AI opponents, and cleaner separation between logic and rendering. If you have made it this far, you are no longer following a tutorial. You are learning real game architecture. If you liked the video so far, and if you think this helped you a little bit, like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm Agent Russ. See you next time.